Hello everyone, and welcome to the Missouri School Boards Association's Board Report for the month of June. We thank you for the opportunity to share some news and information during a few minutes of your board meeting. We begin with a look at the recently completed session of the Missouri General Assembly, undoubtedly one of the most unusual sessions in our state's history. The session was shut down for 6 weeks due to the coronavirus pandemic, and when legislators returned to Jefferson City, there were only 2 weeks left to pass a state budget and 3 weeks left to consider other legislation. Lawmakers met their constitutional deadline by passing a budget by May 8th. The budget provides the same level of funding for the foundation formula compared to the current year, but does include a reduction in funding for student transportation. Other areas of the state budget faced significant cuts due to declining state revenue. MSBA's Associate Executive Director for Advocacy, Mike Reed, gives credit to the legislature for making K12 funding a high priority.
But give the legislature a lot of credit. Both the committees in the House and the Senate did work very hard to fully fund the formula, and that's what they're trying to do. But prospects for funds do not look good, and I think that each school district has to be fully aware that there may be withholds in the future, just because we cannot operate on a deficit. We are not the federal government. We cannot operate on a deficit. So it's fully funded now, but be careful.
One way to provide the state with additional revenue during the economic downturn would be to collect internet sales taxes, the so-called Wayfair fix. Reed says he believes that idea might be considered during a special legislative session later this year.
I would look for a special session dealing with Wayfair in the fall, especially in light of the fact that local governments will be hurting for cash flow and for tax money. I think that there may be impetus to come back and work on Wayfair later in the year.
During the final days of the legislative session, lawmakers considered what are called omnibus education bills, where numerous individual bills are put together in a single bill. Those omnibus bills contain several provisions harmful to public schools and did not pass before the legislature adjourned on May 15th. School boards and administrators throughout the state are making preparations to reopen school buildings later this summer in the midst of the coronavirus pandemic. One option now available to school districts is to start school earlier in August. Current state law prohibits schools from opening any earlier than 2 weeks before Labor Day. But the State Board of Education has given the Commissioner of Education the authority to waive that statute and allow schools to open before August 24th for this year only. School districts must apply for the waiver and get public input on the decision, including a public hearing. Districts must also demonstrate how the exemption will benefit student learning and how the exemption will minimize the transmission of the COVID-19 virus. Plans continue for the 2020 MSBA Annual Conference in cooperation with the Missouri Association of School Administrators to be held September 24th through 27th in Kansas City. The event will once again feature more than 100 sessions and workshops, many presented by school leaders from districts throughout the state, all in a new location at the Kansas City Convention Center. Registration for the 2020 annual conference opened on the MSBA website on June 1st. And don't forget the 2020 Safe Schools and Colleges Forum, sponsored by MSBA Center for Education Safety, will be held this year in conjunction with the annual conference in Kansas City. Contested school board elections in Missouri were moved to June 2nd this year due to the coronavirus outbreak. If you are a newly elected board member, Missouri law requires that you complete 18.5 hours of training in your first year of service. During the coronavirus restrictions, MSBA's free certified board member essential training will be delivered all online. After the restrictions are lifted, a portion of the training will be delivered online, with the remainder in one-day classroom settings at locations around the state. You can register now for the CBM Essential Training to help you become an effective member of your governance team through the MSBA website. That's it for this month's edition of the MSBA Board Report. Thanks for allowing us to have some time at your board meeting, and so long from Columbia.